Okay, this is my attempt to explain the lorax in 5 minutes. Here we go. Right, so there's the Universal logo, and then there's minions for some fucking reason. Then the Lorax is on the stage, and then it's like sometime the Lorax, and then there's a little kid who's a nobody. They're all singing about air. They want air. For some reason, there's Lord Farquaad over here. And then montage over, and then he's going to meet the girl. There you go. He likes that girl. He wants the girl. She likes trees. He's gonna get her a tree after she says she'll marry him. And then he's talking with his aunt and mum or something, grandma, whatever they are. They're eating. She's like, follow your dream. He's like, okay, mum. And then he like goes outside. He like hops outside, and then Lord Farquaad is like, oh no, this kid can't do it. He's like, my brand, I need to sell air. I love air. And then he just flies out of the fucking universe, and then he goes and sees if he can find a tree. And then he ends up at the Lorax's house, well, the Onceler's house, and then he's like, woo, who are you? And then I'm like, ooh, I'm that kid. And then he's like, oh, I'll tell you the story of my life. And then yeah, his family doesn't like him. He runs off. He sings about his feelings, and then he finds trees, and everyone's happy and everyone's joyful, and he's like, yeah, rocking out. And then everything's fine, everything's great. He starts giving marshmallows, and then everyone's like, yeah. And then the kid is like, I don't get it. And then the Lorax is like, no. The Onceler's like, yeah, this is fine. And then the kid is like, I still don't get it. And then the Onceler is like, you know what, screw it, here's the Lorax. Yeah, and the Lorax is like, let's hold hands. You can't take the trees. But we can be partners in crime and totally not homoerotic. And then they just run around and have fun, and then they have domestic disputes, but then they live together, and then they're partners, and the kid is like, I still don't get it. And then the guy's like, go. And then he starts having a dream about getting the girl, but then he gets woken up by the mum, and then the grandma's still like, oh, go get that tree. And then he does that again, but then O'Hare finds him and is like, no, Lord Farquaad, no. He's like, no. He runs off. He goes back to see the Onceler. There we go. And then continuing the story, he starts talking about his youth and everything, and here we go. They're living together now. Everything's domestic as fuck. They're like, don't kill the trees. He's like, okay, I won't. I promise. Probably? No, he's going downstream now. Oh, okay. So he dies. And he's like, oh, you saved my life. And then he's like, yeah, now don't cut down the trees. And then he's basically blackmailed into it. They live together, very domestic. He's living with critters. He's literally Snow White. They're looking into the fridge, and then, yeah, they're like, let's try and sell a need. And then the kid is like, ha ha ha, this is shit. And then they're playing cards, they're eating, they're gambling. Oh, and then everyone's here, and then they start buying off of him, and now he's rich. And then the kid is like, oh, damn, okay, I don't care. I just want the girl. And then O'Hare is like, no, no trees, not even pictures of trees. And then he's like, dude, the trees. And then the Lorax is like, yeah. And then his shitty family shows up, and then he's like, oh, great, they're so shitty. And then they start making a profit out of it. And then the Lorax is like, yeah, no, your family sucks, dude. And he's like, I know, but I can't say anything, really. And then the trees are getting chopped down more and more, and the Lorax is like, dude, you gotta stop it. And he's like, no, how bad can it be? How bad can I be? Like, look, how bad can I be? I'm sexy, how bad can I be? And then everything is crumbling, everything's bad, the animals are suffering, and yeah. The Lorax is like, dude, what are you doing? The Onceler is like, no, dude, what are you doing? That's the last tree. He saw it. And then O'Hare was like, oh, I'm gonna sell air. And then this was a good idea for some reason. And then the Lorax was like, dude, I can't forgive you. And then he flies off into the fucking sky. And then the kid is like, dude, you suck. And then the Onceler's like, yeah, I know. And then he's like, but have this seed. And he's like, okay, great, I'll impregnate her with this. And then he takes it, and then he gives it to the girl, and then puts water on it. And then Lord Farquaad is like, oh, hey, dude, let me take that seed from you. And then the mum is like, no, get out. And the girl was like, oh my god, she loves the seed. Oh, and there's a lot of car chasers, that they're trying to get them. They are trying to get them. I'm having a seizure. I'm literally having a seizure. And then, yeah, they're skiing down the hill. There's air everywhere. Everywhere's air. Oh, and then they drop something, and then there's a huge ass diamond thing, and everyone's like, dude, what's up? And then Lord Farquaad is like, this kid is mean. And then she's like, no, he's not. And then they all try and pitch in and save the day, and then they see what the outside world is like, and they're like, yeah, we need to change. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they start singing about their feelings, and they want good, happy airtime. And then Lord Farquaad is like, no. And then they're like, die. And then the ones that sees it, he sees trees have come back, everything's great. And then the Lorax comes back and is like, dude, you suck. And then they hug, and then they live together forever. The end. Jesus.